Bracia rodzeń.
Jesteśmy. Łukasz zaraz dojdzie.
No bumps.
Łukasz, dawaj tu, rozpoczniemy. Jesteśmy, słuchajcie, właśnie dotarliśmy.
Tak
Wszyscy
jest.
się zbieramy.
Fajny klimacik.
Dobra energia, dobry klimat.
O, thank you very much.
Także jesteśmy. Pokażmy klimacik.
Dokładnie. No, zaczynamy. No, mnóstwo już znajomości, już mnóstwo historii. Pewna pacjentka, która tu przyjechała podziękować swoim mistrzom, dzięki którym jest na Carnivore ze stwardnieniem rozsianym. Świetnie się polepszyło na Carnivorze. 3 lata już na Carnivorze. No niesamowite historie. Mam ciarki na plecach.
Przyjeżdżają lekarze, którzy chcą inspiracji, chcą należeć do tej społeczności. Fajnie, że należycie do tej społeczności, no bo to będą się działy i dzieją się wielkie rzeczy. Fajnie.
Tak jest. Zobaczcie.
Dobra, czekamy w kolejce, zajmiemy jakieś
Kawę sobie wziąłem.
fajne miejsca. A co, żebyśmy wszystko dobrze widzieli i słyszeli. Co
Uczymy
Łukasz?
się organizacji, to znaczy powiemy jak organizować.
Bardzo dobra organizacja. Słuchajcie, także no, startujemy, zaczynamy.
Tak jest.
Zbieramy się.
Tak jest.
Zbieramy się i co tu dużo mówić. Będzie fajna atmosfera, zaraz zobaczymy
Tak jest.
pierwszy wykład. Ben Bigman, damy wam...
Ale dowiedzieliśmy się od Jane Unwin, od żony doktora Newella, zresztą będzie na konferencji, że no tu jest 400, chociaż ja tu widzę, że jest więcej niż 400, nie? Osób.
To będziemy liczyć, zaczynaj liczyć.
Tak ze 3 razy mniej niż u nas.
Ale bardzo fajny klimacik.
Bardzo fajny klimacik,
Trzeba
fajny
przyznać.
klimacik, to prawda. Kurde, ale jest ta energia, wiesz, niskowęglowodorowego
Ale
świata. Widać, że ci
fajne
ludzie
jest
są
to-
szczęśliwi.
Tutaj zauważyliśmy, że wiele osób przyjeżdża tylko po to, żeby dołączyć do społeczności, tak jak ten kolega lekarz. Zresztą powinien tutaj zaraz się dosiąść, diabetolog.
You don't want to be famous?
I'm very happy to be famous.
Really been, a year's worth of work putting this together, and it's been an incredible journey. If you do want to post on social media today, make sure you tag us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter using the handle phcuk.org, or use the hashtag or use the hashtag PHC2023.
Good morning. I am delighted to be here. When Sam first reached out and invited me to be a part of it, I was honored because I have long respected what Sam has been attempting to do. And I'm just delighted by the not only extent of the community, but the clear affection that exists here in what you've created. Again, I'm delighted to be here. I'm particularly thrilled because Sam teed this up so well, and I can see why he might want a guy like me to come speak at an event like this. Because I have a view of chronic disease that I think has value, and you'll be the judge of that. In this paradigm, the conventional clinician has a glucose-centric paradigm. And so we look at the glucose and we say, next, we just need to lower the glucose at any cost. Next. But if a good way to do that, next, is to just push the insulin up. We might not even know where it is because it's so uncommon to measure insulin. The clinician won't even know where the insulin is. The patient won't even know where their insulin is. And so who cares if we push it up even higher? Because we will have the patient's glucose going down. But does that solve it? 70% of the calories are coming from carbohydrates. That's quite a majority. So this is what happened over 7 days in a fasted state. I'm already showing you the glucose levels. Now, however, next, if we were to add on the insulin, this is what happened to the patient, to the subject's insulin levels over the same length of time. By the end of the week, in a fasted state, mind you, their insulin levels at a fasted state were 2.5 times higher than they were at the beginning of the week, just by overeating carbs for a week. Next, this is insulin resistance. Normal glucose and hyperinsulinemia. Next. And again. Now this is how, when we eat these macronutrients, there is a corresponding blood molecule. With fat, triglycerides would be the blood marker of fat consumption. Perhaps, actually, triglycerides is more complicated. Amino acids would be the blood marker of protein. And then lastly, glucose is the blood marker of carbohydrate. Next. In diabetes, type 2 diabetes, which is just a prolonged insulin resistance, which of these nutrients in the blood is the body struggling with? Actually, it's a little more complicated than I'm mentioning, but what's the one that we obsess over? Well, of course, it's the glucose. And no surprise, that's the thing we're eating the most of. Next. So I submit to you there are 3 pillars. If lifestyle is the culprit, it's also the cure. The food we eat is causing or can cure these metabolic issues. And we could expand this to add a lot more, but first one, click. Next, control carbohydrates. And by that I mean, my suggestion is look at the amount of digestible glucose compared to the amount of fiber that would come with it. If it's relatively low, if the fiber to everything else in there is high, then that would be a carbohydrate that's generally going to be good. Fiber will mitigate some of the glucose absorption, and thus the subsequent insulin spike will be about 30% or so less than it would be otherwise. So control carbs. My suggestion, focus on whole fruits and vegetables as primary sources of carbohydrates. Whatever the carbohydrate desire is to eat, focus on fruits and vegetables. Next, prioritize protein. This must be, if you're prioritizing the best protein for the human body or any animal whatsoever, it will be, because even ruminant animals will digest the protein very differently, but we humans, we need it in our monogastric system. We need it to come from animal sources. By every metric, an animal source will have superior absorption and without the complications of a plant source protein. There are technologies that are improving plant source proteins, but we are built to eat other animal and animal source proteins. Prioritize the protein. It's a modest insulin effect. Now, in nature, protein never comes alone. In our hubris and in our fear of fat, we've pulled it apart. Next, but protein always comes with fat in nature. There is truly no exception to this. If it's a natural protein, fat comes with it. That's how we should eat it. Not only do we absorb the protein better, because we digest it better. Most people don't appreciate that. That we think we have proteolytic enzymes in the intestines coming from the pancreas that will split up the proteins into small enough units so that we can pull it across our intestines. But those proteolytic enzymes don't work as well without bile. Bile enhances the ability of the intestines to digest protein. And we only have bile getting released into the intestines when we eat fat. They should always come together. Do not fear the fat that comes with the protein. And I would even say be liberal with adding some fat to your protein. A lot of questions. Thank you all for listening.
Słuchajcie, doktor Unwin to tłumaczy w swój niesamowity sposób, taki spokojny, to znaczy, żeby wycofać insulinooporność albo żeby skończyć tą pandemię, trzeba dojść do prawdziwych przyczyn insulinooporności, czyli za dużego poziomu insuliny. I tak jak słyszeliśmy tutaj na wykładzie profesora Bikmana, przyczyną są najczęściej węglowodany, jest stres, czyli zapalenie. I teraz obniżanie węglowodanów najlepiej robić stylem niskowęglowodanowym, ale też drugą takim zadaniem, jak mówi dr Unwin, jest to, żeby utrzymać ten styl niskowęglowodanowy, który często jednak jest osadzony na uzależnieniu od węglowodanów i wtedy potrzebne są grupy, społeczeństwa, lekarze, którzy są wyedukowani, cały system, który pomaga tym ludziom, a nie szkaluje ludzi, którzy ograniczają węglowodany, jedzą mięso i tak dalej, i tak dalej. Czyli zobaczcie, też mówił o opodatkowaniu tych firm, które tworzą przetworzone jedzenie. System jest szeroki, problem jest duży i wymaga wieloczynnikowych działań.
First of all, I'd really like to thank Roy Taylor. You may not know that without Roy, I wouldn't have published anything, I probably wouldn't have achieved anything, because I learnt about physiology from Roy, particularly about triglyceride in the liver back in 2013. Also, when in our practice we started getting extraordinary results, high-ranking professors, and they all ignored me but one, and that was Roy Taylor. Thank you. Roy did my statistics and confirmed that what I was doing was very unusual. And this talk is about what we are doing at Norwood Avenue, a very ordinary surgery near Liverpool. And here's my lovely...
Lovely, welcome. Wow, what a warm-up act. And now we're going to put it all into practice. So I work for the PHC and I'm here to tell you how we've been scaling up type 2 diabetes remission using our health coaching service, the Lifestyle Club. Does that work? Yes. So let's start by thinking about what is currently available for people with diabetes. And if you have pre-diabetes, so your blood glucose is starting to go up, then...
We need to detect and treat it better. And that will come from improved focus on diagnostics within the clinic, as well as acknowledging that this is not a problem that can be cured with a drug.
Prevention, absolutely key. It's a window of opportunity. And I don't want us to forget that we can do this. It's perfectly possible. I do not accept the pandemic of diabetes. It's not necessary.
Absolutely, and help.
So I wanted to make sure that you've remembered we are offering low-carb, real food health coaching on the NHS at the moment, and that to survive we need to grow TLC, we need more people to come and commission us, and we need to raise money for our research study, so please support.
And on that note, I'd like to pledge £500. If Jen agrees.
Przerwa na... jak myślicie?
Na mięso.
Na mięsko.
Ludzie są ewolucyjnie stworzeni do jedzenia innych zwierząt.
Proszę bardzo.
Więc jemy inne zwierzęta i 50-dniowy sezonowany stek z tej okazji to robimy.
Bo zabrakło nam energii, tak. Może nie do końca, ale no jest to, tutaj jest energia. Tutaj jest energia, która pozwoli nam przetrwać i na pewno naszym mózgom.
So on the first day it was about 1200 calories, then 800 calories, then 600 calories. And then for 10 days it was 250 calories a day.
Alright.
And then when we finished we came up and we had finished the fast slowly, going back up safely, reintroduced the food. And it was the first time I was introduced to ketosis. It was really hard, and we thought we'd have to be really fit, we can do a walking, we'll be in the top group actually. But no, it was a steep learning.
Yeah, but the first time you weren't adapted, so it would be very difficult.
Very hard, very hard. But it was medical people that you had seen. But it was like rebooting your computer. Yeah. It was like rebooting your whole...
You said you were vegetarian. In Poland, it's very popular to have like fruit vegetables posts. There is one doctor called Dąbrowska, and she's quite famous from vegetable and fruit posts. What do you think about it? Because the one opinion is that all vegetarian style of eating is the post itself. So I eat eggs.